Hello again, traders, and welcome back to the Hot Stocks Outlook for May 10th, 2024. Hope you all are having an excellent week out there in the financial markets. And as always, we've got plenty to cover here in this week's Hot Stocks Outlook. So if you have not already, make sure you go ahead and click on that link in the description below. You can get yourself signed up for a live demonstration so you can learn all the specifics about how this technology can help you make much better trading decisions in the marketplace. Now, as we typically do, we take a look at the broader indices via the SPY ETF. And so what we can see is we started to edge higher really since last week. And so that sent our year-to-date number up to about 10%. And we really want to be careful, right? Because we've actually seen some stocks do well, some things do poorly. And this is why it's especially important to have the right tools to position yourself accordingly here. So I wanted to actually start out with a couple of utility stocks because Duke Energy here is a good example of a stock we actually looked at 2 full weeks ago. So right when the market is really way back here as far as the price action. And that's because we started to see strength come into utilities actually during a time where we didn't see much strength in other areas of the markets, right? Last week, I talked about some of the biotech, some of the smaller cap stocks actually turning up and doing well. But before then, it was like, okay, well, we got utilities. We'll see what else starts to come through. And so this is a really good example of how all these tools work together. And so here with Duke Energy, what we have is daily price action. So each one of these candles that you're seeing is representing a full and complete trading day. And it's right up against that price data that the first thing you'll notice is a black line and a blue line value. So the black line that you're seeing there, that is a simple moving average. In this case, it's a 10-period simple moving average. So what it does is it just takes the last 10 closed prices, it'll add those all together and divide by 10. And really the weakness with technical analysis tools like this is that, for one, all of the data to generate that simple moving average comes from the past. It's already occurred. And the other problem is it only looks at one market in isolation, meaning it doesn't really accommodate for how other markets are driving and influence the future price of Duke. It's really just summarizing what already occurred in Duke Energy. And so what we're able to do is compare that black lagging moving average to this proprietary predicted moving average. And for this number to get calculated and plotted, essentially it's a price to get plotted every evening. Well, this is where that technology of artificial neural networks are coming into play. And in this instance, what they're going to do is, as those intermarket relationships, whether they be individual stocks or ETF groups or things like the oil market or global interest rates, well, as those markets push against essentially, having a bullish or bearish effect on the future price action of Duke, what's going to summarize all of that and start to skew these indicators. So whenever we see that blue line, in this case, cross above the black line, well, it's suggesting average prices are going to start moving to the bullish side. And this is what makes this very helpful when you're trying to figure out, okay, well, where is there strength in the market? Well, we can use features like VantagePoint's IntelliScan to identify a lot of these bullish crossovers as these predicted moving averages start to move above the actual moving averages across the utility space. And so this is what gets that attention in the area. But of course, you need to manage trades, right? If something's doing well, we want to add to that position. Maybe you need to take some profits along the way. So this is where other VantagePoint tools, you see this bar at the bottom of the chart that goes from green to red back to green. Well, this is VantagePoint's Neural Index, and it's designed to be a 2-day outlook of strength or weakness in the market. And we're also given the VantagePoint predicted high and low, which now we're down to intraday, essentially a predicted range of where the market's likely to trade. And so Duke's a really great example of this, of where we see our predicted moving average cross above. Our Neural Index, we see in this case, it gets bearish as we get really some sideways price action over the subsequent 48-hour periods. But as that Neural Index gets bullish, we get that momentum coming in. And this has been, again, a really nice area in the market to take advantage of the bullish side, especially since it's already been a few weeks here where we've seen, again, a sort of a choppy market. And we're seeing this area advance about 7% in the past 15 trading days. Another example here in Alliant Energy. So another energy stock, or a utility stock, but seeing what's going on broadly and then utilizing the short-term forecasting to take advantage of the opportunity. So here, again, recognizing that, hey, there's strength in utilities. Let's go ahead and use VantagePoint's predicted ranges, like the predicted highs and lows, to take advantage of this opportunity. So you see here, this is about a 1.5% move, another about a 1.5% move. So you're not going to get huge moves on these utility stocks on a daily basis, but this is sort of the point to highlight that, look, regardless of how much volatility is in the market, you need to recognize a few things. One is, what is the overall trend direction? Where is there a sector where there's that strength? What's going on in the short term? Is there that momentum? and where's a good price level to get involved. And this is where these levels every single day are updating and adjusting for the trader, so that as this market starts to trend and move, well, you've got those updated and adjusting levels that you can accommodate with, right? So as the market, earlier is trading down at 49.50. Well, as we get into this week, and you understand that, well, these are actually better levels, intra-week in this case, to go ahead and get involved and target those short-term price targets. Now let's go ahead and look at TripAdvisor, because this was another one of these opportunities where we highlighted that there's a lot of weakness in TripAdvisor, right? This is not a stock that we'd want to participate on the bullish side. And so, and again, another good example of how all of these predictive indicators work together. So here you see that we get this crossover to the downside early on. And this is where we originally highlighted this to get some really nice entries up here at $28 per share. Short take profits on shorts as we go through this really choppy period in the market. And so you see here, as prices really run sideways for about 3 weeks, you do get this situation where the blue line crosses back above the black line. You see the neural index bullish here as you get these subsequent bullish price action over these 48-hour periods. But going into earnings, what do we see? Well, that blue line crossing back below the black line, neural index very bullish, and understanding that, look, we understand utilities are bullish. We understand biotech and even some smaller cap stocks are quite bullish. But this is an area where we know that there's a lot of danger. And as things shift to the downside, well, you can take those profits from shorting earlier and say, okay, well, we can run a stop, see what we get here. And here we have the market doing very poorly here, about a 30% decline in the past 4 days through earnings there. So again, what I encourage traders to do is go back and watch some of these previous hot stocks outlooks, because we covered Duke Energy, we covered the utilities, we covered TripAdvisor, and last week we covered some of the biotech stocks. So here in PCRX, again, another good example of identifying that, well, last week, we really saw a lot of this strength start to come in to the area as a whole. And this is very peculiar because, again, we had so much weakness. So to see some of the biotech and smaller cap stocks do well is like, okay, well, sure, if that's leading the way here. But here we see PCRX, we get that blue line crossing above the black line. And here you see those predicted highs and lows. So you see how well this works. And we see this quite a bit, where you see how this previous predicted low, all the price action, really not much happens. You just sort of, waddle around throughout the day, but it needs to move down towards those predicted lows, find that support. You see we move up against a predicted high, and then, that move around earnings and seeing that catalyst as the market continues higher here. So again, we're seeing a lot of earnings reports. So you're going to see this sort of, gaps and moves on the chart. And that's why things like utilities, where we're kind of through some of that earnings, much more smooth price action where you can do some short-term day trading. Here you see about a 13% rally just in the past 7 trading days. Again, seeing a lot of that strength come in throughout the biotech space. Lastly, here's global Foundries. And again, this is another one of these, smaller stocks here. Most people don't pay attention to. Most people are looking at NVIDIA and some of these more exciting stocks. But there's a really great example of how all of these predictive indicators work together. So we get this blue line crossing above the black line. The overall trend is up. And this is what's really exciting about this, is you see how all the price action on these 2 trading days takes place on the bullish side, right? There's really no selling. The market just moves higher, trades bullishly for the day, and really maintains those price levels. But look down at these predicted lows. So these are down at about 47.20 or so, saying, okay, well, look for the market to come down into these levels would be a really much better place to go ahead and get involved. And sure enough, we move right down into that predicted low and immediately start to see the market advance. Even more recently, you see with all this volatility, how well the market does is picking out some of those predicted high and predicted low values. So again, really nice opportunity here, especially from these predicted lows that have come through. I mean, you're looking at, just in the past week here, an 18% rally through earnings there. So really ample opportunities to get on the right side of the market, whether it's in utilities here, on the short side, there's some opportunities. We got biotech things moving higher through earnings. There's ample opportunity, but of course you want to fine tune in the short term where you're accepting prices, what areas of the market you're looking towards. And this is where all of these predictive tools are really, really fine tuned to help traders solve some of these problems. So if you're looking for new opportunities on a sector basis, day trading, we can use these VantagePoint predictive indicators to really fine tune and highlight the best places to execute those trading strategies. So I'll go ahead and leave it there for today. Once again, this has been our Hot Stocks Outlook for May 10th, 2024. Thank you all for watching. Best of luck and bye for now.